Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. It's the Erik ten Hag press conference previewing the Bournemouth game, and there's actually a lot to get into, a lot of injury updates as you can tell on the title. First of all, I just want to say I'm happy to be back, feeling better. I've been ill like most of this week and it's been absolutely horrible. I mean, I've missed loads of things. It's crazy what happens in football in just a few days. I've come back today and I'm like, well, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. Just trying to wrap my head around it all, but thankfully I'm back for the United game tomorrow against Bournemouth, and I'm really excited. I mean, I watched Newcastle last night against Brighton. They ended up getting a really good result. The pressure's on United. This Bournemouth game is a must-win game. We have to go into the last two games of the season with only one of them needing to win. If we need to win them last two, the pressure really starts to mount onto us. So we've got to win this Bournemouth game, we really do. And it's going to be tough away from home. I was surprised Gary O'Neill wasn't in shouts for manager of the season. Do I think he should have won it? No. But I'm surprised he wasn't at least in the shortlist. The turnaround he's done with Bournemouth. I mean, everyone thought Bournemouth were going down. And then also, obviously, Erik ten Hag's not shortlisted as well, which I also think is a disgrace. But it is what it is. Tomorrow against Bournemouth, two of the managers that I think have been honestly just really forgotten about in the shortlist. I'm really not happy about it. But anyway, let's get into the press conference and let's start off. Welcome everybody in the chat. Starting off with Erik ten Hag talking about injuries, and this is a thing that I really was eager to see looking at this press conference, because we know Rashford, we've seen the pictures of him training. Is he going to be back? Well, Erik ten Hag did say that Rashford trained well the whole week and he had a good week of training, but today he's reported ill. We have to see how he recovers in the day and see tomorrow. So me and Rashford have got the same illness. It's going around Manchester, isn't it? So if he's got anything I don't think he'll be all right for tomorrow, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But that is really kind of a little bit disappointing, to be honest, because with Rashford, yes, we managed to get the win without him, and Ricky will say to me, Beth, we don't need Rashford to score goals. You'll see we scored 2 goals without him. But it's really important to have Rashford back. He can get you a goal out of nothing. He's a really important member of the team. And if he's fit, he starts. So a bit disappointing that he's training, but he's not available. But at least it's not injury related. And obviously you get over illness, you come back. So it won't be a long time that Rashford will be out for. He'll be back for next game if he's not back for this one. And then talking about also Varane and McTominay. Varane is available. He's been in training and he's definitely available, Erik ten Hag says. And McTominay, there's going to be a late decision on him. We'll find out in training whether he will be available for tomorrow. So McTominay might actually be back as well, which is weird because we've not had McTominay in so long. It feels like he's been injured forever. It honestly does. I mean, is McTominay really a massive plus? I'm really sat here thinking, yes, McTominay's back. Not really. I'm not. But it's good to have depth in midfield, and he is someone that has got his uses. And before the end of the season, kind of want to see him playing just purely because I want him to get a move. I want, Newcastle might come back in for him and we can get some money from McTominay. So it's good to kind of good to have him going into the last bit of the season actually fit and ready to play, because obviously it makes him a more attractive player for clubs to come in and buy. But let's see what you guys are saying about this. And Don Z says Phil Jones to start tomorrow, my goat. Yeah, Phil Jones as well. Phil Jones finally leaving this football club. Absolutely crazy. I find it surprising the amount of people that are coming out on social media and speaking about this and saying goodbye to Phil Jones as if he's some sort of legend. Obviously, he won a Premier League, which is amazing, and it is unfortunate. He seems like a really nice guy, and it's unfortunate that injuries did get to him, but at the end of the day, it's felt like Phil Jones hasn't been a Man United player for years now. It honestly feels like he's just been kind of in the background, just taking that 80 grand a week. And, if he's injured, he's injured. There's not really much else he could do. He could have got to move away. But obviously, we put him on a very long contract under Ed Woodward. So that was that. And to be honest, I'm happy to get rid of him because it takes a wage off the books that we can invest into someone else. And he's not to the standard that we want. And he's always injured. So, yeah. Good luck to Phil Jones in whatever he does next, but I'm happy that we get to get rid of him and we kind of can get someone else in who's actually worth something to the squad. And that might sound harsh, but it's just the truth at the end of the day. But good luck to him. He seems like a nice guy. I'll miss the memes. I'll miss the Phil Jones memes. We've got a few good memes out of him. Obviously, Mark has the pink boots. I'll miss that, but I won't miss paying 80 grand a week to someone who is never available, never fit, and never in the squad. So, yeah. I mean, Lord Jones, people would say he's a United stand legend. Maybe not a United legend, but a United stand legend. And Food Mania says, oh no, I'm not going to read that one out. And Roger, Beth, you're not paying it. I know I'm not paying it, but you know what Man United are like? And we've not invested into new players in the past because we have so much deadwood there. So much deadwood that we can't get rid of. A step in the right direction is getting rid of that deadwood so we can get new players in. Tuan Zabi's going at the end of the season. I thought he was going to be a very good player for us. Didn't turn out to be. Phil Jones is going at the end of the season. Hopefully, you can get rid of a couple more players. Get them out of the door if they're not contributing. Get people in that can contribute. That is what I would say. And Aladdin says, confident for tomorrow, Beth. I am confident, actually. I think United are going to get the win. But, as I said, Bournemouth, you know, we're away from home. United aren't very good away from home. The record is poor. But Bournemouth are on holiday. They're out of the relegation zone. They're not going to be relegated. You know, they're safe from the Premier League, and no one expected it. Expected it at the start of the season. I didn't expect it. I had Bournemouth to go down as well. So Bournemouth are safe. So Man United, realistically, we saw what Wolves were like when they were safe. They turned up to Old Trafford and they were on holiday, half of them. They were really, really poor. I expect Bournemouth not to be poor, but I don't expect them to be fighting massively for this game because they're already safe. Obviously, it's the last home game in front of the fans, so that might play a part in it. But Man United, if they have anything about them, will go to Bournemouth and get the job done. 100%, I expect us to win that game. If we drop points there, I'll be really, really disappointed. But moving on to Ten Hag speaking about if Manchester United can reach Manchester City's level. This is another thing while I was off. That Real Madrid game at the Etihad was just ridiculous. I've always known City are miles ahead of us, but they are miles ahead of us on the footballing pitch. And this is why I want the full takeover 100%. And I think what Qatar can bring us at least gives us a chance. I think if Sir Jim Ratcliffe buys us, we've not got a chance of reaching that level, if I'm being honest. We've not got a chance. If Qatar buys us, we've got a chance. But that level is just insane. And nobody's near it. Nobody's near it. But Erik ten Hag says, when I see this project, first of all, it's important to get Champions League football. I don't think today we're at that standard. I've got to look to the next game. So what Erik ten Hag's saying there is basically Man City are ahead of us, of course they are. The first step in his process to getting to that level is getting us Champions League football, which hopefully is what we're going to do. And then he said, no, we're not in that level, we're not in that standard, but I'm just looking from game to game and looking to improve. At the end of the day, Rome isn't built in a day. Rome is not built in a day, and Erik ten Hag's got a lot of work with this Man United team. Rome would be built quicker if you had an owner in place that was going to give you the funds, going to invest in facilities, going to invest in infrastructure, going to invest in the city, going to invest in the training ground, going to give the manager everything he needs to succeed. Rome would be built quicker that way. The way Pep's got it, I think Pep is obviously a managerial and coaching genius. And I think if you had any other manager there, they wouldn't have reached the levels that Pep has. I think Pep is an insane manager. I do think that. But Pep wouldn't be in the position he is with City right now if he didn't have the ownership that he did. He wouldn't be there. Maybe eventually he'd get there, but it'd take him much, much, much longer under a different ownership. They've got brilliant scouts. They follow exactly what he says. I mean, they give him everything he needs. So it's a lot easier to reach that level quickly. Like the time scale he's done it in is a very short turnaround because they've given him everything he wants. At other clubs, that's not going to work like that. So, you know, if Erik ten Hag we do end up getting Qatari ownership, and they come in and they put money into the club like they said that they're going to do. They've pledged this investment. They do what Erik ten Hag wants them to do. They get the right people in place. It makes it a lot easier for Erik ten Hag, and it gives us a much better chance of catching up quicker, is what I would say on that. And I do think that is the case. I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from Pep. He's a brilliant manager. But at the end of the day, they're facing how many financial fair play allegations, and their owners have given him everything and more that he needs. So, you know, that's exactly what Man United need. They need to follow in that footsteps of not the financial fair play, obviously. Man United won't have that because, you know, we've got the fans, we've got the turnover, we've got the revenue. But we need to go in that direction with the fact that we have an ownership that's going to back the manager, that's going to invest in the football club, that wants to win everything, wants to be the best. That's the direction we need to go in. And I know people say, Man United have spent this much money over the last 10 years. They've spent more than Man City. We've give ridiculous contracts. We've not listened to the manager. We've spent crazy money on signings that you could see them coming off a mile away that they weren't very good signings. We've done everything wrong because we've had the wrong recruitment in place. We need to get the recruitment that City have. We need to get the infrastructure City have. We need to have the facilities that City have. We need to be responsible in the way that they have in certain cases. That's the way that we need to go about things. And Man United have just been run poorly from back to front for many, many years. For example, it's like Cancelo is genuinely, I think, one of the best fullbacks in the world and was killing it for City. Pep had a disagreement with him and obviously said, you know what, you can go. Manchester City board completely backed him. Cancelo went. If that was Man United, do you really think Man United would let a player go like that if the manager had a little bit of a disagreement with him? I don't think they would. Do you remember when Jose Mourinho wanted to get rid of Martial and Man United said no? So I don't think they do fully back the manager, and this is exactly what you need to be successful. But anyway, that's my long-winded answer. I could go on about this for quite a while because I think about it quite regularly, sadly. And I was thinking about it a lot when I was watching Man City beat Real Madrid, who were a brilliant team at the Etihad, and they looked unstoppable. And I thought, how are we going to do this in the FA Cup? I thought, how are we going to beat this team in the FA Cup? And I was thinking about where we've gone wrong over the last decade and where City have gone right, and I was thinking about the gap. I still think we can beat them in the FA Cup. There's obviously a chance, there's always a chance, but it's going to be very, very difficult, and it's a shame really, but now we've got an opportunity to change it with the ownership coming in. I honestly beg that the right thing happens and that we get owners. I don't care, like I've said, it's not about the personnel, it's about the organisation that's going to come in, take full ownership, have no debt, and going to invest money into this football club to be the best. That's what I want. I want no debt, I want a full takeover, and I want money invested into Manchester United, and I want Manchester United to become first. For me, there's only one kind of model that suits that right now, and that I see that's what they're going to do, and that's Qatar for me. Sir Jim Ratcliffe will see what happens with that, but that's why I'm so hoping that this ownership situation is going to be resolved and go in the direction of Qatar, but we'll see. Everyone has different opinions on this. Some people think Sir Jim can come in and do it and will be able to do and will be able to basically change the way that we've been and will put his own stamp on things, and that we have enough revenue to do the transfers. And I get that side of it, but there's always going to be debt. We're always going to be paying Ineos back. The Glazers are still involved. It's just messy for me. It's just messy. It moves a lot quicker with Qatar, and I also think, where is Sir Jim going to get the money from to reinvest in stadium and facilities the way that we want to? I'm not sure. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see. John Jordan, member for 31 months. Qatar will win. I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right on that one. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I just hope it goes that way. But we'll have to wait and see. I do think it wouldn't still be a two-horse race if Qatar wasn't in with a big chance. Let's put it that way. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Erik ten Hag, speaking about tomorrow's game against Bournemouth, he says, against Bournemouth, we have to win that game to get into the Champions League. Focus on that game. The game's coming up. The first game is the most important. Basically, exactly what I'd expect Erik ten Hag to say on this. Like I said, it's a must-win game. Our away form has been terrible. We've got to put that right, and what a better team. I mean, Chelsea went to Bournemouth and won. So Man United need to go to Bournemouth and win, especially when Champions League is on the line. And then Erik ten Hag speaking about John Murtough and Richard Arnold. Very interesting. We're talking every day what Erik ten Hag says. Obviously, I'd expect that. You know, we're about to go into a transfer window where we all know, everyone knows, everybody knows Man United needs some help. This transfer window, it is absolutely crucial that Manchester United sign well. It is absolutely crucial that Erik ten Hag gets the players in that he needs and that we get some really important positions filled. So I'm glad that he is speaking to John Murtough and Richard Arnold, but at the same time, I'm thinking, it was only last week that Erik ten Hag came out and said that he doesn't know what funds he's got for the transfer window, and he doesn't know what's going to happen with it because of the ownership situation. We've since had updates that the ownership situation won't be resolved before the summer transfer window. Surely there must be something in place. I did watch Adam's interview with Mark Ogden, which I thought was brilliant. And Mark Ogden was saying that we're working with about 100 million, I think it is £100 million, without player sales. We've got players that we know Erik ten Hag wants to sell. We've definitely got player sales to be made. I think overall we're probably working with about 200 million in the summer. When you're looking at a striker for 100 million, the budget suddenly starts to look small. So hopefully they're figuring something out. I honestly don't expect them to, because of what I've seen in the past. I expect it to be a long process into the summer where when we panic buy at the end, because that's what happens every single summer, it seems to be like. I hope I'm proven wrong. At the moment, the only people that we are significantly linked to heavily is Kim Min-jae, which would be a brilliant signing. But I even tweeted myself, I don't like to be negative, I want to be positive. But I've seen this before with Man United. It looks like we're going to do a really, really, really good signing. I think, is it too good to be true? You know, is it too good to be true for Man United to do that? Kim Min-jae, for me, feels like too good of a deal for Man United to pull off. I mean, I think it's a 40 million release clause in pounds, 39, 40 million pounds release clause. He's obviously coming into his prime. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world right now on form, and he looks like exactly what we need. He's just won obviously Serie A. I just think to myself, and I've watched him throughout the World Cup, I've watched him for Napoli, he looks brilliant. I just think to myself, surely that's too good of a deal for us to do. But if we get it done, I'll be honestly over the moon. I think Erik ten Hag's obviously got a massive factor coming into transfers. We know he spoke about that in his interview portion of getting the Man United job. And we know last season he was massively pushing for Anthony. He was massively pushing for De Jong, which we didn't end up getting. And he was pushing for certain signings. And he was basically Lisandro Martinez. We wanted to get Pau Torres last season. Man United's target last season was Pau Torres. Erik ten Hag came in and said Jurrien Timber couldn't get him, Lisandro Martinez. What a signing that's turned out to be. So, you know what? I trust Erik ten Hag. It's just whether the board can back Erik ten Hag fully in what he has to do. And it shouldn't be Erik ten Hag that has to identify these players. We should have a good network behind us that are also trusted. I mean, I've said it loads before. Camavinga we missed out on. I mean, Ralf Rangnick wanted us to get Vlahovic, wanted us to get Alvarez, wanted us to get Luis Diaz. We've missed out on Caicedo, Camavinga, like Jude Bellingham we even missed out on. I know we were going to go for that one, but we've missed out over the years and we need to not do that anymore. So back Erik ten Hag, back what he wants to do. So, I mean, Rabiot, again, on a free is not too bad, but I question the attitude, I question the wages. I think he's a good player. I've watched him for Juventus this season. I think he's played actually better than what I expected him to. I think he stepped up for France in the World Cup as well. But it's not, again, not something I'm overly excited about. I want to see us starting getting to link to a striker, really. I know we're linked with Kane, but there's not really much development. Man United need a striker ASAP in the summer. So when rumours start to heat up around that, I'll start getting a little bit more excited. But going into this summer transfer window, I think everybody's just got question marks over their heads of what is actually going to happen. I don't think anybody knows, and I doubt United know themselves, really. I know Erik ten Hag says he's speaking to Richard Arnold and John Murtough, but I don't even think it's Richard Arnold and John Murtough's fault, really. They probably don't know what's going on from above them because of this ownership situation. So it's a dubious time for Man United right now. We either have a good window or we don't, and we need to have a good one. So I'm not confident, but I've got to at least stay positive because, you know, this is going to be a summer affair and we're going to be in it together. Damo, MUFC, Glazers are motivated by cash. Qatar will 100% win. All this drama is about the Glazers jacking up the price. Why would they hold on? Nobody wants them. Damo, I've heard that rumour going around a lot. I hope you're right. I did start to think that myself. If they wanted to go with Sir Jim, surely they would have just done that by now. Do you know what I mean? Surely they just would have chose him as their buyer. If they want to, you know, if that's what they want to do and take that 20% stake. The fact that Qatar have put in another higher bid, for me, makes it feel like maybe Sir Jim is being used a little bit as kind of, you know, someone to drum up the price. But you never know with the Glazers. They do usually work at a snail's pace in absolutely everything. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope it is, but we'll see. And Erik ten Hag on Bournemouth again says, I think as far as I can see, it's a really brilliant club. Bournemouth. They're in the Premier League and 3 games before the end of the season. They are definitely going to be in the league again next season. So paying them a little bit of a compliment there. As I said, it's good for us that they were avoided relegation. It's really good for us because, you know, they've not really got much to play for apart from the fans on the last game of the season. And Erik ten Hag on Phil, I nearly said Sir Phil Jones then. I mean, I wouldn't be wrong, would I? Lord Phil Jones of the United Stand. Erik ten Hag on Phil Jones, he says, yes, I saw him in training for 20 minutes on the first training of the year. He's had a great career, what he's achieved, winning the FA Cup, winning the Europa League, being present at 2 World Cups, a massive career at Man United. all the credits for his career. Missed out the Premier League there, Eric. But, you know, Erik ten Hag, to be fair, you know, he's not gonna be like, oh yeah, Phil Jones, always injured, can't wait to get rid of him. He's gonna pay him some respect. And absolutely is what I would expect with that one. But it just sums it up. I saw him for 20 minutes in training and then he was injured again. Like, it's Phil Jones, isn't it? He can't catch a break, bless him. But yeah, it was never going to work out under Ten Hag. But it's nice that Phil Jones has wished Erik ten Hag the best of luck. Erik ten Hag's paid him a little bit of respect there, and thankfully United are moving their separate ways away from this, because it's just ridiculous how long he's been here, if I'm being honest. And then moving on to Marcel Sabitzer. And before I move on to that, actually, I do want to say happy 17th birthday to Tori in the chat. I saw that before I went live. I've just been reminded of it now. Happy 17th birthday from everyone in the United stand. And I really hope that Man United get you a birthday win tomorrow, one step closer in securing Champions League football. I really hope we do that. But happy birthday. I hope it's a really, really good one for you. Hopefully you're going out tonight, celebrating. Not drinking alcohol yet because you're only 17, but no, happy birthday to you in the chat, and I hope you have a good one. But Erik ten Hag on Sabitzer, interesting. And, you know, on here, I've seen a lot of people, you know, I see the chat, a lot of people do disagree with me a lot of the time, and that is absolutely fine. And I think it's mainly because me and Mark do disagree on things, and, you know, I know Mark has a really big following, and you know, me and Mark agree on things, we have these conversations behind the scenes, but obviously we disagree on the De Gea thing, and that's people on two different sides of the fence, but we also disagreed on Marcel Sabitzer. Mark obviously said to keep Marcel Sabitzer. I said I don't think we should, and that isn't me having an agenda, as people like to throw at me as soon as I have an opinion about a player. That isn't a positive one. I like Sabitzer. I think he's technically good, and I think that is what he is. He's a good player. But I think he's had 3 different injuries since he's been at United, since January. He's now out to the end of the season. And is he an improvement of any of our first team players in the midfield? No, he's not. So I said, for that reason, I want to upgrade. You know, people say, well, he's better than McTominay and Fred. We've already got McTominay and Fred at the club. It's not as if we're going out and paying money for them. We need to upgrade them, absolutely we do. But I don't think we should be going out spending 25 million of our transfer budget on a 29-year-old injury-prone player that doesn't improve our first team. I think he's a good player. As a squad player, he'd be good. But I still think that 20 to 25 million could be used more wisely. I've said that. I think, you know, it could be used on an Enzo Lefebvre type signing, a young player that's coming up through the French, you know, for the French national team, and he's doing brilliant in Ligue 1. I think it could be used on, you know, it could be used on something that I think would be more worthwhile. So I said I won't keep Sabitzer. And interestingly enough, I saw Mark tweet the other day, Rabiot not for me. I think we should have higher standards than that. You said you wanted to keep Sabitzer though for 25. You wanted to spend 25 million on Sabitzer, yet you wouldn't want Rabiot on a free because of quality. Rabiot is a better player than Sabitzer. He is. Not by much, but he is better. He is better than him. So I didn't understand that, to be honest with you. But I'm leading on to something here. Erik ten Hag on if he plans to sign Marcel Sabitzer. We will see, but it's not our main focus. The main focus is on Bournemouth. And to me, it didn't really seem that positive, that answer. I mean, we might go and sign him, but I really doubt if he's injured now until the end of the season, we're going to do that. And I don't think Erik ten Hag will do it. I think he's had a chance. I think at first, in the glimpses I got, I definitely thought we should sign him. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked, and I thought, you know, he's not really had a decent run in the team. I thought he looked quality. Played multiple different positions. When he came on in the Carabao Cup final, I thought he did really well to see out the game in that game. I thought he worked really well. I'm not slandering Sabitzer because I think he's a good player and I think it could have worked out differently. But in this moment in time, is the standard of Man United to be going signing Sabitzer for the summer? I don't think so, no. And I got a lot of stick on my Sabitzer video for that, saying I was being negative, but I'm just trying to set high standards for Man United. And is he someone City or Arsenal would go out and buy? No, I don't think he is. So I don't think Man United should be either. Damo. Oh, yeah, I've had that super chat as well. Let's see what you're all saying on this one. And Brandon Andrews said Sabitzer can go back, need better impact players. And Aldin says, I'm with you, Beth. Rabiot is a regular for France, best Juve player of this season. He is good. If you are a starter in this France team, you have quality and he is good and he is physical. Yeah, Exactly. Rabiot is a good player, and people, obviously last summer, I have to admit, I didn't want to get Rabiot. I thought it was a laughable transfer. I'll admit where I changed my opinions and things. I thought Rabiot was a laughable transfer last summer, and I did not want to go and get him. I watched him for France in the World Cup, and I was very impressed, I have to say. And I thought, you know what? He would have been a good signing. I did think that. And then I've watched him for Juve throughout the Europa League and in certain games this season. Obviously, I'm not going to say I've watched every one, but I have watched some Juve performances this season. And he stood out. He really has stood out. He's physical. I think he could work in the Premier League. Am I saying it's a signing for Man United that's going to be unbelievable? No, but I do think it'd be a decent signing. And I actually think he comes in and starts over Eriksen as well. Just. But I think he actually is. He is a decent signing. Would be a decent player for us now. Looking back on it, and it's like when Sabitzer first came in, I was so excited from what I'd seen of Sabitzer. I thought he was going to be brilliant. I thought we were going to end up signing him. I've been a little bit disappointed, and on reflection, I look back and I think, no, I don't think we should sign him. I don't think he is quite good enough. So you can change your opinions in football. You can change them based on what you see, and that's my stance at the moment. But Rabiot's mum isn't the best to deal with, is she? Let's be honest. And to be honest, I'm still thankful for Rabiot's mum, because we wouldn't have got Casemiro if we got Rabiot. And wow, looking back at things, obviously I'd take Casemiro every day of the week over Rabiot. Like, obviously I'm happy it worked out the way it did. But getting Casemiro then and maybe getting Rabiot now, maybe, you know, the timing's different now, and it's on a free transfer. We don't have to pay any money. I think it was about 15 million last season we were rumoured to go and get him for. So maybe, you know, things align sometimes and it works out. So I think if we get him, it's definitely not a bad signing. I think it's definitely a positive contribution to the squad. And we've got a poll going in the United stand chat. United should sign, and you've got two options, Sabitzer or Rabiot. I'm going to vote now, and my vote is for Rabiot. And 65% of you are with me on that as well. 65% say Rabiot, 35% say Sabitzer. I think it's quite obvious, if I'm being honest. If you watch football regularly in different leagues, I think you will have that opinion. But, you know, everyone's got different ones. But basically, if you would sign Sabitzer over Rabiot, you're wrong. But no, I'm joking. But yeah, if you watch football regularly and you've watched Rabiot in the World Cup, and you've watched him for Juventus, and you've watched Sabitzer recently, which I assume you all have, I think you would come to that conclusion. Let me see what Rabiot's age is, because I think he's in his late 20s as well. Actually, he's 28, so he's got a year on Sabitzer. But from what I've seen, he's not injury prone. I'd have to look into that more detail, but just from this season, from what I can gather, he seemed to be kind of playing every single week, I think, for Juventus, and in the World Cup he was consistent as well. So yeah, I'd be happy with that signing on a free, as long as the wages weren't absolutely stupid, because, you know, I'm not coming out here offering Rabiot 300 grand a week. Rabiot could come in, I think max 200 grand a week max, and even that for me is a little bit much, to be honest with you. But someone said get both. You know, we should not be getting both, because we've only got room for one of them type of signings in our squad. We need to get a Rabiot in, but we also need to get someone like top level, going to be a starter for Man United for years to come, is elite, could get into most midfields in the world. We need to get I don't think we'll get Frankie de Jong, but we need to get someone of that ilk, because that is exactly what Man United need. Wow, I wish de Jong wanted to come so much. I saw him commenting on Donny van der Beek's post the other day. I was like, come on, just please move. He's the perfect midfielder for us in that midfield. We need someone like that, as well as a Rabiot. We need depth. Having Sabitzer, Rabiot, Eriksen, Fred, McTominay, it's not at the level we need. Rabiot is good and he's the best out of them, but we need someone of like a serious quality as well, I think. John Jordan says, Beth, are you going to be in Dublin? Unfortunately, no, I'm not going to be. I'm actually in Portugal while United Stand are on tour in Dublin, and I wish the show the best, and I wish I was coming, but I'm going to be on holiday myself, actually, on my summer holidays before, because we know Man United don't really make signings at the start of June, let's be honest, so I've timed it quite well, and then I'll be available for the rest of the transfer window, so I will be on holiday for that one. But yeah, a Dublin tour, I'm assuming last time Mark was telling me and the team that it was brilliant. I know Ricky absolutely loved it. So gutted I'm not going to be there, but I'm sure it'll be a brilliant tour. And yeah, 64% Rabiot, 36% Sabitzer. So Rabiot does seem to get the landslide on that. And to be honest, I do think it is a signing we probably will make, looking at it. I mean, a free transfer, Man United love it. They love a little bit of a big wage. We probably will offer him way too much, but this is football heritage, as Jose Mourinho would say. We always have to do one of them per season. We always have to do one of them. And I was thinking about that last season. Eriksen was a brilliant bar and a free. In fact, you know, we didn't offer him ridiculous wages. I think he's on 200 grand a week or something like that. But still, it's still a lot of money. Still a lot of money. So I assume the same thing will happen with Rabiot. And if Rabiot is on, like I said, nothing more than 200 grand a week, we get him on a free. I think it's a good signing. But look, everyone, we've got Bournemouth coming up tomorrow. And it's a big game. We have to secure this game for Champions League football. We have to. And we'll have all the match day content coming as usual. I back Man United to win. I'm actually going to go. I'll get my predictions in now. I'm going to go with 2-0 to Man United. I think Anthony's going to score. I think he's due to score a goal. And I think Bruno Fernandes is going to score as well. That is my prediction. So everyone, get your predictions in the chat as well. I'll also be interested. We've got coming up next week, Manchester United's Player of the Year, Sir Busby Player of the Year. I'll be interested to see who gets that. My vote's actually Bruno Fernandes, Lisandro Martinez or Bruno Fernandes, but I'd probably just go with Bruno. Just because of the consistency and the reliability across the season. But thank you everyone for listening to the press conference. We'll see whether Rashford is back tomorrow. It's touch and go. And hopefully Man United get the win against Bournemouth. But have a great rest of your day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow with all the match day content. Enjoy your weekend.